Charlie Sheen. You mentioned in your manifesto, so thank you for your kind words. I'm urging you to call me. Let's figure out together how to end this thing. Call me.
You have vandalized my heart, raped my soul, and torched my conscience. You thought it was one pathetic void life you were extinguishing. Thanks to you, I died, like Jesus Christ, to inspire generations of the
Ian Flynn fans.
You're late, Fett.
Montross.
It's been a long time, Django.
Not long enough.
You're here to question this gangster. I'm afraid he doesn't have much more to say. He just froze up on me. Once again, it looks like we're after the same thing. And I'm still a step ahead of you.
So, I've been caught up in some drama recently, and I can't tell if it's going to end or not. So, I'm going to make this video to essentially make sure that if it ever starts up again, it will be a reminder as to why it started in the first place and how it got to be so bad, because I've had to deal with a lot, and I mean a lot, from this drama. But in order to give context, we need to know what the fuck we're talking about here. Because, oh my, if you want to talk about bad Sonic fans, Flynn's fanbase is right up there in the top 10s. No, seriously, they're up there in the top 10s. The reason for this is that Flynn's fanbase tends to be not only loud, but they generally tend to be very crazy and will attack anybody if they dare so say one negative thing about Flynn. Now, granted, I have seen plenty of Flynn fans who can actually defend Flynn without having to resort to being jackasses, but those seem to be very few and far between. Because instead of being rational, a lot of these people will oftentimes resort to ad hominems, straw men, attacking people for simply disagreeing with them, you name it, I've seen it. It's just really dumb. As in, really, really dumb. And I've known people who have actually been silenced by Flynn's fanbase for simply talking out against him. But, of course, a lot of this can be traced back to Flynn himself, who encouraged this bad behavior. And not only that, but it had a lot of unintended consequences and created some of the worst Sonic fans you will ever see. Not Christian bad, but pretty bad. But really the first time that the horrors of the Flynn fanbase was actually brought to light was Marcel Buchaka, who was so bad that Flynn fans actually started to disown him. He was making death threats. He was a creep. Oh my god, you name it, this guy has done it. But if you want the full story to that drama, I will link you in the description below to a video I did about Marcel, because, oh my, I was one of his first victims, and he was one of the first people I had to deal with on my channel until I just got fed up and said, fuck it. Fuck it. But somehow it's only managed to get worse. And with that, we bring you to the latest in Flynn's unintended crap shots. Or I guess intended crap shots. Feast your eyes on Semaj Hogue. Easily the worst Flynn fan ever. However, Semaj Hogue goes back pretty far. In fact, his first comment that I could find was him responding to Dreamcast ZX1 when he said, "What do you got against Flynn?" And then he goes, he just wanted to make a Rhodesian Raccoon channel because he couldn't handle all the criticism, even though I had advertised it. So why would I be trying to run away? I don't know. And not too long after that, he quickly became acquaintances with Marcel Buchaka, and the two of them would oftentimes help each other out from time to time and would often chat in my comment section. In fact, he was probably Marcel's biggest friend, I'd have to say. And at that point in time, Semaj and Marcel were both going around harassing people in my comment section. I am not joking. That was almost all they did. They just kept harassing and harassing and harassing. And at one point, Semaj decided to tell somebody to kill themselves. And things didn't get much better from there either. Because eventually this crap made it on Discord, and it made its way onto my DeviantArt page where he began attacking people there. And, oof, that is only the tip of the iceberg when we're talking about his harassment campaign. And while Semaj will try to pass all of this off as criticism, in reality it's him attacking me. And I ought to know, his channel description literally says, at least on his old channel, Legendary Semaj Hogue attacks Lance Jerkov and Dylan Thomas, defends IDW, and defeats DBZ fanboys. To this is the place of where he lies, where he has a second account called Cheryl Hogue lol. In fact, his reasons for why my reviews are shit is because I don't like the comic. And everyone else likes it, so I must like it too. Never mind how my early reviews are cringy as fuck, have bad pacing, have missing slots where pictures are supposed to be, have crappy humor, crappy dialogue, and the fact that I harp on points for longer than I should. But because I don't like Amy Rose's portrayal or the action, I must apparently be the worst person ever. Hell, even the issues that I like and I still say, oh, well, they're shit, Semaj will flip his shit. That is actually how he thinks. He actually thinks that if I don't like something that everybody else likes, that I must be stalked and harassed for an eternity. And he will desperately try to say, oh, well, I'm not stalking you. Okay, then what the hell is this? I'll quit stalking you when you stop making stupid arguments. Hell, he's even tried to get other people to go out and attack me. Here's one example from Mega Beatman's channel. How do I support the comics? The person asks. And Semaj replies with, attack Lance Jerkov. And while I was watching a stream, I want you to guess what Semaj tried to do the entire time. If you were guessing make the entire stream about me, you would be correct. Even though the stream was about Encyclopedia Dramatica, Semaj was desperate to make it an exposed video about me. But Dylan decided, you know, let's just troll this idiot, and after a while we did, it just got kind of boring. And I got to the point where Jesse just said, are they still arguing? Also, Semaj, you do realize you can make your own exposed videos, right? There's nothing stopping you. You eventually did it, then you deleted it. And he's done something like this several times. His obsession with me really doesn't end. Even when I think it's about to end, it just keeps going and going and going. Some other individuals he tried to pick a fight with were Toa Archon of DeviantArt, who really didn't want to talk about the conversation at hand. He just wanted to be left alone, but Semaj couldn't let him be at peace, of course. And even Ian Flynn fans have called him out on his hyper-aggressiveness. And, oh boy, he acts just as bad to them as he does to Penders fans. Pretty much everyone who he disagrees with is a Penders fanboy or is racist. And to continue the level of stupidity, have you noticed a pattern with the writing here? You have? Good. Because he doesn't use punctuation. In fact, when he does use punctuation, it seems to be because of the spell correct. So you get these long-ass sentences with poor grammar and poor spelling that oftentimes don't make any sense or make very little sense, and that makes them especially hard to read because you can't tell when to stop and when not to stop. So you have to kind of figure it out on your own, and that tends to be very, very annoying. But since this is Semaj Hogue we're talking about, he's going to use this as a means to go around and harass people again. In fact, here's someone who had to point out his shitty grammar, and here's the first thing he responds with. Pennsylvania, US. Gee, is that racist? I'm black. Now, I'm not you guys, but that sounds pretty racist against black people, since I know very damn well black people are perfectly capable of typing a coherent sentence. So why the hell is he berating black people? Oh, probably because he has no excuse for typing this poorly. Of course, now that little shit has effectively moved on towards blaming his own keyboard. And by the way, do not bother using charts and graphs with him. He will ignore any you give him. And if you do give him anything, well, he won't even respond back. And if he does respond, it's usually convoluted as fuck. With a little hint of backtracking, of course, because you can't go 5 minutes with Semaj Hogue without him backtracking. So arguing with him ultimately becomes completely pointless, because you'll be going in circles, getting absolutely nowhere. And you don't need creative freedom to create new characters. But his logic actually gets much stupider than this. In fact, when he says that he doesn't hate me as a person, and says that he's only giving criticism to me, one of his criticisms is that I'm a furry. Yep, that's right. I am apparently a furry, and I'm also apparently homophobic, because a guy who has 2 friends who are in a homosexual relationship, yep, that guy hates gay people, clearly. And keep in mind, this is coming from the same guy who says things like, furries are gay, and Rio is, Ken Penders was gonna make Rotor gay. So you don't hate me as a person, but you're gonna use ad hominems against me because you really... Okay, that's a great plan. In fact, let's look at some of the shit you liked on YouTube. Man pees himself. Vaginal discharge. You seem to love using the N-word a lot. So Rotor being gay is apparently a bad thing. You seem to really like to confirm that you don't look at Mobian girls. No, November's looking pretty hard, isn't it? That almost sounds like it's meant to be a threat. Are you still getting bent out of shape over a pink hedgehog, dude? I had no idea this was True Love Heart we were talking to. Come to think about it, you seem to have a really big hatred of Sally at the same time, while really admiring Amy Rose. Huh. I wonder if you're troll shielding. And guess what else he likes? Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah, that's right, he loves Thomas the Tank Engine. In fact, some of his YouTube likes are of Thomas the Tank Engine. Models, animations, yeah. Huge Thomas the Tank Engine fan. And I've seen him backtrack on this before, too. So if you're going to use what I like against me, then I can use what you like against you. That's how that works. So don't use that stupid little argument and not expect it to backfire on you. So don't even bother complaining either. So after knowing all this crap, it shouldn't surprise you any to know that he defended Marcel Buchaka after it was revealed that Marcel Buchaka was a very, very creepy individual, saying, Lance, you went too hard on Marcel. I went too hard on a guy who not only made death threats, but was looking at child characters. Naked. And sure, you might be able to make the argument, oh, well, they're just drawn. But it still doesn't make him any less of a creep. He also said that Marcel was cool. Now, his reasons for saying this are going to make a lot more sense later on in the video, because there's a lot more to cover, and there's a much greater amount of shit that he's done. In fact, I have so much shit on him, I think he's the second most documented Sonic fan ever. He's behind Chris Chan, but still, he's pretty well documented. So I hope you're prepared for the rest of this horror show, because it's not going to get much better. His first of the Discord shenanigans would be Sonic Legacy. Now, this one was fairly short, but it will have an impact later. But after the whole Jesse Pajamas versus Sonic Legacy controversy, Semaj went into one of my videos about it and said, Sonic Legacy is awful, Jesse's telling the truth. And I told Semaj, considering it's you, you probably did something to deserve it. And his response was, I only made one cancer joke. Keep that word in mind. One. And wouldn't you know, there was cancer joke upon cancer joke upon cancer joke, and they kept telling him to cut it out. And he was arguing with the admins a lot. And no, this isn't a case of, oh, they're just being pussies. No, they legitimately told him several times to cut it out, and he didn't cut it out. And Celeste Orion, the guy who runs the project, even said, look, I'll drop it if you drop it, okay? If you keep this up, you're out. And then Semaj brings it back up and gets kicked from the server and acts like, I didn't do anything wrong, I just made one cancer joke. And later on he complains about how, Sonic Legacy kicked me off because I said I didn't like Sad AM. No, they didn't. And then you try to get back on the server and they're like,
No, we gave you a second chance, and you blew it. So stay out.
So the story with Dumbsville is fairly brief, but fairly interesting as well, because it does explain a lot more. Although it primarily involves him trying to A-log, and of course talking about how awful the Sun Alley fanbase is, citing Jay Foxfire as being one of the worst, and of course talking about how, oh, Marcel Bachaka used to be my friend, I'm so much better than he is, while at the same time he also practiced making threats to True Love Heart 94, and this is just a glimpse of how he A-logs in there, trying to talk about how much better he is than a majority of people. However, he occasionally gets into arguments in the server, some of which are considered to be very annoying, where most of them will just say, why did you do that? However, being the intelligent True Love Heart that he is, he tried to get Dumbsville to talk about me, framing me as some sort of toxic Son Amy fan. However, if you're reading this little piece right here, you can tell, yeah, no, and Dumbsville didn't even buy it, and he just thought, why did you respond like that? You could have been much more polite about it. And what's funny, too, though, is that people even compared him to True Love Heart 94 as well, after he blocked somebody over Neo Metal Sonic. Although I still find it funny that he continues to try and argue with them about Goku versus Sonic, or whatever kind of shitty theories he has this time. But eventually it got to the point where the admin just said, please stop. And he continued. And then Jerome the Grey starts to get involved in this. And if you don't know who Jerome the Grey is, he was the first guy to make a video about Marcel Bachaka, and I even helped him out on making that video too. So after Jerome comes in, President Meme Tronus asks, is your tactic to win arguments annoying everyone until they tell you to shut up? And personally, I just find that line just kind of funny, and I just had to put it in here somewhere. And Jerome calls him out, saying, I hate being that guy, but you were always spamming on Lance's comment section. And then Radio responds, President Memstress is right, referring to the previous comment. And then Semaj is a little worried now, isn't he? Always picking up on him, Jerome tells him. Of course, he tries to play stupid. Oh, I think this seems like a joke, really, to be honest with you all. And President Memstress continues to complain to Semaj. You literally present 1 to 2 shitty arguments throughout. Jerome responds, oh boy, that's not even all. Meme Tronus continues. Then you say, no, it's not. Every time we present a point. So after Radio asks, who the hell is this Lance Jerkov guy? So Jerome tells him, and Semaj inadvertently ends up helping me, which happens a lot here. Believe me, it has a lot. And then Radio proceeds to tell him about how they had gotten into a apparently heated argument between which music was better, Mario or Sonic music. And of course, someone has to respond to Semaj with the most wonderful reply, and the most accurate reply, as a matter of fact. Okay, calm down, True Love Heart. And if you've been keeping track, that's actually a very accurate statement. However, he basically used this server to try to get in contact with me, and it seems to be how he was able to actually get my contact in the first place, because the moment he contacted me, he tried to call me eventually, and he tried to continuously call me, and I just kept ignoring it each time, and each time he got more and more aggressive as time went on. But all of this pales in comparison to what he would do to Dumbsville himself, and how you try to get Dumbsville involved in drama he didn't even want to be involved in, and still doesn't want to be involved in. So here's a little shit said that pissed off Dumbsville. Hell, even your friend Dumbsville disagrees with on Flynn. He told me that at times you made him want to quit talking. If you're that bad, Dumbsville is pretty chill. I know you did something with Team Random about someone being homosexual, and you taking any rumor about Flynn and turning it into a lie. If anything, I should tell you Penders was going to sue IDW. And keep in mind, Dumbsville had been trying to keep a close eye on him after he kept insinuating things on his own server. And it was at this point that Dumbsville was furious. And I do mean furious. So he tells Semaj, dude, okay, not cool. I don't appreciate it when people take what I say out of context. I know this is between you and Alex, but firstly, I don't want to be dragged into this. But you did anyways. Secondly, I didn't say that Alex made me want to quit. That is absolutely bullshit. Normally, I'm a really chill guy, But I have to be 100% honest here. You literally dragged me into an argument I wanted no part in, and took what I said completely out of context. Honestly, it angers me that you took what I said completely out of context, and you're actually borderline lying about what I said, just to use it against my friend. I know that Alex and I have our differences, and I don't approve everything he says and does, but you have no right to pretend like I'm going to turn around and go against my friend, especially when I was defending him the last time we spoke about him.
And of course, Semaj tries to play the I'm sorry. Then he tries to play the victim card, saying, I'm sorry for dragging you into this. I thought you said he was annoying and I forgot you said you never want any part of this. But Alex tried to frame me for multiple things I ain't going to state those multiple things, but I'm sorry anyways. Now that you think about it, I have forgot some things you said and rephrased a couple things. And Dumbsville ain't buying it one bit. Rephrased a couple things? I know for a fact that I never once said that Alex made me want to quit. What I had intended is to say that what he said legit made you angry sometimes, and even that is not very smart. Sometimes my anger gets the better of me. Yeah, the things he does makes me angry, but that doesn't mean we aren't friends, and that certainly doesn't mean that I want someone to use that against our friendship. I don't think this is an anger getting the better of someone case. Anger and manipulation are two different things. Anger probably clouded your judgment, but it's not the fact that you got angry that gets me. It's that you took what I said and manipulated it in a way that I didn't want anyone to use it in. And yes, I did ask Dumbsville for permission to use the DMs between him and Alex Hedgefox. So thank you, Dumbsville, for that. And now the Lush has effectively been banned from Dumbsville's server altogether. And on Dumbsville's server, there's not a whole lot of rules, really. I mean, you can say all sorts of offensive shit, as long as you don't start arguments with people. Very lenient, and if you actually go onto the server and look at the rules, yeah. And Semaj broke those rules, and they were easy to follow. And once I heard the news, I was pretty ecstatic, and I honestly expected to write some salty DA journal saying, Dumbsville was so mean to me. He was very lenient with you. You got away with a lot more on that server than you should have been able to. And I had to actually tell Dumbsville about all his alt accounts because he had 3 on there. 3! Fuzzy, Edgy the Hedgy, and SA1 Luffer. And those had been on there for quite some time. So you had already broken 3 rules by that point anyways. But no one cared about the alt accounts anyways. But I had to warn him because otherwise there is probably going to be a raid. And I expect there to be a raid at some point down the line.
Protect the briefcase!
We need to protect the briefcase!
Yo, a little help here?
I got it. Stand back, son. One.
Hey, it's still here!
Gentlemen?
So if you thought the last one was crazy, well, then you haven't seen what he did in Silver Team. Now that's a story. But this was something that Semaj was really waiting for. He wanted to get some information on me so he could go to the server that I frequented the most just to start shit with me in the server. And if you recall earlier, Semaj had sent a spy after me. And when I told them, we were kind of trying to figure out, okay, who is the spy? And who the hell could it be? Because it could be any number of people. And I had a couple ideas of who it could have been. But we still don't know who it was. Or who it could be. And that's pretty much stopped by this point. And that's how he was able to get the whole mental illness joke and throw the whole thing out of context. Even though I'm calling myself crazy too. But whatever. That's Semaj we're talking about. He'll take Dumbsville's words out of context to start shit. So he'll try to take my words out of context to start shit. And wouldn't you know, the first thing he does is try to start shit in the server, saying that I made a DeviantArt journal about them, even though that never happened, ever. It's the exact same thing that he would do with Dumbsville later on down the line, which makes his whole apology ultimately empty. So I tell Zell about the whole situation, and then we decided to immediately block him from ever using any of the voice channels.
So, now he can't get in there and start trying to spy on me, and he can't go in there and start harassing others as well. So while all that's going on, you have him trying to get into Dylan Thomas's server. So he befriends some guy named Alex McGee, and he says, Semaj needs to tell you guys something, and this is not too long after the whole Celeste controversy. But he tries to get Semaj into Dylan's server, and this doesn't turn out as he had expected, because they don't want to have to deal with him, because Dylan already knows how annoying Semaj can get. And Semaj was apparently involved in raiding this server at one point. Now, Semaj has a couple of raider friends, and these guys would later go on to raid Dylan's server. And one of the people he was targeting was someone named Sarawishi the Blue. Now, Sarawishi gave a good amount of information on Dylan's server about Semaj, and it becomes pretty apparent that Semaj planned this attack. And Semaj had been bullying this guy to the point where he just said, I'm through, don't ask me any more questions about this. Now, he first actually met these raiders in Silver Team. They were trying to raid the server, however, we quickly caught wind of what the hell they were doing because one of their names was literally Rotom Dex the Raider, which is kind of stupid when you think about it, because that's just asking for a ban. However, Semaj quickly took advantage of the situation and contacted them because he seems to follow Rotom on Twitter and on YouTube. So, yeah. He had to get a bunch of raiders to go and stalk and harass a guy who disagreed with him on Sonic's base speed. Yeah, it keeps getting stupider and stupider and stupider. But that's not even the worst part. Okay, now here's the really, really retarded part. The worst thing Semaj has ever done. So the story goes something like this. So Dylan Thomas wanted everyone to come into the Silver Team voice chat, so I go on ahead and I join in. And then a couple of other people start to join later on. But Dylan wanted to talk with us about a video he was doing on Sonic World's developers, or what's left of them at least, after the whole Oz Crash Fest. So we're in the voice chat for a little while, and then Dylan decides to go into another voice channel in Silver Team. However, one thing I found kind of odd was that there was someone named Bomb in the voice chat. I didn't know who the hell it was, so I had to ask him, who the hell is Bomb? And he responds with, I'm a partner. However, Semaj started talking, and he said, Dylan, you're not going to get away with this. So now we're on high alert because we don't know how the hell did he know Dylan was in the voice chat. And this is after Dylan went back into the voice chat I was in. So now I have to wonder what the hell is going on. So we're all in panic mode at that point. We're trying to figure out what or who could be doing something, and how the hell does he know? Is there someone recording on the outside, or is there someone doing something else? We didn't know. But it was very suspicious that Semaj knew Dylan was in the voice chat, even though he had been blocked from going into the voice chat itself. But then, Semaj opened his fucking mouth. Hey, Bomb, what's going on in there? And then, it took us a while, but then we figured it out. Bomb was recording the fucking phone call, and he put up the audio files on Sonic World. At that point, everybody is pissed. Everybody. And we're saying quickly, ban Bomb, he's the spy. Trying to get Zealous's attention on this whole situation. So not too long after that, I head on over to Sonic World server, and what do I find? Well, it turns out, Semaj had been relaying information to Sonic World, and not only that, but he was apparently the guy who told Bomb where Dylan was so he could record the call. And once I made the video about the whole situation, Semaj had confirmed my exact suspicion. He was the one who led Bomb into Silver Team. Plus, I was smart enough to screenshot that crap. So yeah, you can escape those comments now. And as for Bomb, we quickly banned him from the server and put Semaj in jail. And he tries to play that whole, I'm sorry. Cell didn't buy it. One bit. He knew exactly what Semaj was trying to do.
And let me tell you this, Sonic World wasn't too pleased about what Semaj did either. Because they started arguing with him. And then, oh my, you want to know the funniest thing about all of that? You were of no help. What? Your calling out didn't help at all. And guess what Semaj's response was? The best way to respond to a situation like this is to do the following. Bomb, of course, would later apologize for the incident, everything is forgiven, and Semaj would try to break out of the jail. I have no idea what the hell he was trying to accomplish with that, other than just to write a message. Yeah, that's some smart thinking right there. So, skip ahead. Sonic World finally decides they're going to report Semaj. So his original account has been deleted. And I want you guys to guess what happens next. What could happen next? Oh, they get raided, just like the rest of them did. So after that, Sonic World figures out that Semaj is working under the account name Fuzzy, and they ban that one too. So let's recap. He broke the law to get information about a guy who didn't like a comic book writer who wrote a comic book about a blue fucking hedgehog that runs really fast and eats chili dogs. Do I even need to say how stupid that is? You broke the law over that. That is just really, really stupid. I just don't know how anyone would think this is a good thing to go wiretapping over. There's no reason to wiretap anybody, especially over Sonic the Hedgehog. And you know, at least Sonic World apologized, and at least their apology was genuine compared to what the hell you'll push out. You weren't sorry about that once. I mean, even True Love Heart didn't go this far.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Now, we get to Twitter. And you can probably guess at this point what we're going to be dealing with. Harassment, bad grammar, punctuation errors, and really, really bad logic. But here's where he finally dropped the ball. Where he finally screwed himself over really badly. So here's how it goes. He decides to start going through my posts and decides to start pretty much responding to everything I've retweeted just about. So he finds this one from Bounding into Comics, and then he replies to it. And here is the tweet. They insulted Comicsgate, not the fans, dumbass. The dumbass, of course, he is referring to me. And here's the tweet where Ian Flynn insulted comic skaters, just to give you an idea of what the fuck was going on. And so we're on the same page. And this is where Semaj royally fucked up. Because after that, that Umbrella guy retweeted and said, "So attacking consumers is fine, as long as you aim for a small majority. Sonic ships under 12,000 copies for a company that is over $7 million in the hole this year, has over 20 mil in debt, and is bleeding equity. But hey, attack potential consumers. It's marketing genius." And the way he responds to these people is so bad. And this is only the half the story, because if I was to repeat everything said there, I would be here all day. And you wonder why I don't tangle with comic fans. It's still wrong for what he did, but he didn't really attack his fans. More like he insulted a company. That's just as bad, but my point still stands. People take things out of context. Comicsgate isn't a company. It isn't. No, wait, it's focused on the comic book industry, so meh. Your rambling is incomprehensible. So I'm incomprehensible because I just stated my thoughts and theories. Again with the Roblox oof sound effect. Yeah, that's starting to get really annoying. It's a hashtag, nothing more, and they can say whatever they want. Those words mean nothing because that only feeds the beast you're creating. Who the fuck? What? I can't creating this shit. This is why I don't fuck with comic fans, and shit, just completely ignore my point, sure. You mean your point that it's perfectly fine to harass the customer? Yes, that's a great business plan. Now I'm gonna skip ahead to the greatest part of the Twitter scandal of Semaj Hogue. Honestly, the reason I think people dropped it was stupid because he said one thing about someone or his fans. You let that get to you. It's a comic book writer. I don't care for Flint. I just read comics. I keep it moving. My advice to you is to ignore Ian Flint's ignorant ass and just enjoy the comics. Or life, take this as a life lesson. So you want comic book customers to bend over and read a comic book in spite of the fact that the writer called them shit. Here's how businesses work. You have two companies that make good beans, alright? But the first businessman beats up puppies, while the other one gives puppies to loving families. Who the hell do you think you're going to buy from? The guy who kicks the puppy or the guy who gives the puppies to loving... It's obviously the guy who's giving the puppy to a loving family. Do you not seem to get it, Semaj? People don't want to buy the comic because they don't like it. They don't want to buy the comic because the guy who writes it is an asshole. And guess what? People generally do not like being talked down to like they're shit. You are stupid, stupid, stupid. If IDW hired you, oh god, that I can only imagine how much more their profits would sink. Oh dear lord. And finally, he starts to complain. Guess what, Semaj? You wanna know something funny? You started this. You should have known what you were getting yourself into by saying crap like that. Did you honestly expect everyone would just agree with you that Flynn did nothing wrong in that situation? No, they were not. Because most people don't like being talked down to. And as far as I can tell, the majority of the people that were responding to you were Flynn fans. They like Flynn's work. They don't like Flynn as a person because he decided to call them shit. And people don't like being called shit. There is a general level of respect that is meant to be shown by the goddamn creator. And when the creator doesn't show respect to his own customers, guess what? They can take their money elsewhere. Or they could just go and read Archie, which is what they're doing right now. But the final nail in the coffin for this story is that after harassing people for months, Semaj was finally kicked off of Twitter and then permanently banned. Good riddance. And now we get to the really, really, really dumb part. A part that I honestly thought wouldn't get to this point, but no. We have gone full-blown Sons of Kojima now. Or whatever kind of group you want to consider it, because this has now gone to the point where he's created an autistic Median cartel.
They have to make an example out of you so that no one else will do it.
Now, this autistic Median cartel comprises of several people, and I'm not just talking about Semaj and the Raiders. I'm also referring to people like Mick Melting Man, and Aquarius 199. These four are the biggest players in this group. And both of them go back and forth helping each other out from time to time, and they founded themselves one little group. But Mick and Semaj are the most frequent of these members, while Aquarius 199 is the smallest of them. And there are other smaller members too, however these people seem to function more so as support rather than anything else, like Skunk and Agent Black Dog, just to name a few. While Melting Man is their celebrity endorsement. So he's not an official member, but he was of help to their harassment campaign. But it gets to a point where it's not too dissimilar from what Wild Game Studios did to Total Biscuit, or what Digital Homicide did to Jim fucking Sterling. Whereby, even if they were fine with something being up originally, they go, you can't use that anymore. Which makes this whole thing very, very authoritarian. So let's start with the first guy, who's not Semaj, and that's MickTrap397. This guy is insane. He'll make references to things that I don't even know about, and he's even admitted that he goes around harassing people, or went around harassing people. Honestly, I feel like he hasn't really changed from that, if I'm being honest. So in order to defend Flynn, one of the first things he does is drag the whole Ken Penders thing out from the grave, even though Ken Penders hasn't been relevant since 2012. So that way he can say, oh, well, Ian Flynn defended a guy who called people Nazis, but at least he's not Ken Penders. It's like, no, Judge Flynn under your own fucking merits. Penders has not been relevant since 2012, like I said. I mean, come on, the dude's 54 years old and lives with 5 other people. One of them's his wife, 2 of them are housebound, and one of the people who's housebound is his mother. While Flynn lives in some condo in front of Lake Ontario and steals from his own wife, for God's sakes. Penders doesn't work for the comics, so quit using him as some kind of excuse for Flynn's horrible actions in the first place. And Mick Trapp was also involved in censorship, believe it or not. So he gets some artist named Kai the Fox to go out and censor anything comparing her character Kai to Sonar the Fox. And I don't need to tell you how batshit crazy that is. Not only that, but the images she has on her DeviantArt profile all fall under Creative Commons, so as long as there's nothing derivative and everything is credited properly, she can't really do anything about it. I also caught Semaj stealing other people's art without their permission. What did Mick Trapp do about that? Absolutely nothing. And it took Julian Robotnik to actually call him out on it, and then he did it. But he still hasn't done it for this picture. And no, this isn't Semaj's art. This is what Semaj's art looks like. This is the art that he used for this meme. We don't know where it came from. Also, if you're the artist of this picture, please let me know. So it's perfectly okay for somebody to use someone else's art without crediting them, as long as it's being used to defend Ian Flynn, but it's not okay for someone to credit someone else and use their art when it's under Creative Commons. That makes a whole lot of sense. But whatever, let's just go in and censor anything comparing the two. And she goes from saying, yeah, it's kind of butt me how similar they are, to, they're not even remotely similar. I also love how Mick Trapp celebrates the fact that he almost got a couple people censored online and shut down their freedom of speech. But whatever, it's to protect Ian Flynn, so it must be for a good cause. That reminds me of somebody, but I'm not quite certain who. And Mick Trapp and Semaj are also planning in the comments section of the IDW Sonic group on DeviantArt to remove Hedgefox from that group. Yeah, so apparently if you don't like IDW, you're not allowed to support artists who do like IDW, and you're not allowed to like their art either. And Semaj and Mick Trapp do this a lot, where they plot out in public against people. Yeah, so much for not wanting to harass people. Also, funnily enough, on Mick Trapp's DeviantArt profile, he has an anti-Antifa stamp. It's ironic because he acts like an Antifa member. So with the abuse of Creative Commons, harassment, and the love for the fallacy of relative privation, I'd have to say Mick Trapp comes pretty close to Semaj in terms of awfulness. And then we have Aquarius199, who tried to hide the fact that he had questioned the legality of the Freedom Fighters just to save Flynn's ass. And say, oh no, Flynn never said that the Freedom Fighters were in a legal battle. And he tries to ignore it as if nothing ever happened. He also happens to be Semaj's insider in the Save Archie Sonic group. Talking shit about them behind their backs, but then going into the group and making journal posts like an admin would. And now, for the second main event of this part, Semaj's avatar, aka Melting Man 234. Now, Melting Man and Semaj have a somewhat more recent history. Semaj himself attempted to contact Melting Man on 2 occasions, one on Twitter and one on DeviantArt. And from what I can tell, he did get in contact with him because he began relaying information to Melting Man, which got him really pissed off. So Semaj tells Melting Man about the whole Give Go Elner gas campaign Trendo Dude did, and the information he had given him was over 3 months old. It had already been resolved by that point. And I can tell you for a fact that in the early stages of that campaign, Hedgefox was a jackass. But then, we even told him, you're doing it wrong. And so, he changed tactics. And then the whole situation got resolved. So the controversy hadn't been relevant for 3 months when he wrote that journal. And then there's this part of the journal where he says that, I'm sick of all these Archie Sonic continuity purists trying to kill IDW. Where he acts like the only people who hate IDW are the Archie Sonic online comic book, or the Save Archie Sonic group, and people who are Archie Sonic continuity purists. So by Melting Man's logic, If you don't appreciate the bad customer service dished out by the staff of IDW, you're an Archie Sonic purist. If you liked IDW and not Archie, but you don't like the way Ian Flynn talks to you, you're an Archie Sonic purist. And comic skaters are apparently Archie Sonic continuity purists. Yeah, that's a really, really nice way of thinking. That's not gonna backfire. Or sound condescending with how broad and generalized it sounds. So the two latest members are Pink Blossom 20 and Kemi Lasiga. These two are crazy as fuck Sega of Japan fan brats. And Pink Blossom took advantage of Hedgefox's stupidity after he leaked one of my videos, and then gave the video to fucking Semaj. And Pink Blossom herself is terrible, and I mean she is a terrible person. Also, Semaj, what was it about you saying that Ian Flynn insulting comic skaters was bad? Well, your little friend is doing the same fucking thing, and she's deleting comments left and right. Oh, wait, that's exactly what Ian Flynn did. He blocked people who dared talk out against him after he insulted Comicsgate. Yeah, these people can dish out insults, but they can't handle it. And this shows me that Semaj only said what he did to comic skaters was wrong because people called him out on it. And to wrap things up, though, the group itself is basically run like a cult. You cannot talk bad about Melting Man, Ian Flynn, or Semaj Hogue, even if it's a friendly jab, because then they could kick you out. It's not too dissimilar to the Sons of Kojima, or in this case, the Sons of Flynn. That's basically what they are. They're the Sons of Flynn. Any criticism to Ian Flynn or Melting Man is essentially considered wrongthink. The only thing they haven't done that makes them like the Sons of Kojima is maiming a well after somebody, and that's something I wouldn't put past them to do. I mean, when did Mr. Enter ever encourage behavior like this? Because when Mr. Enter's fans start harassing people, one of the first things he does is tell them not to do that. And the group does have Melting Man's approval. However, I don't know if he's aware of the activities going on behind the scenes with this group or not. But having to deal with that cult leader, Mick Trap, I can safely say that, yeah, I have gained a new level of respect for Mr. Enter as a person over Melting Man, personally. I mean, does Mr. Enter give support to people like this? No. Did Mr. Enter ever support a harassment campaign? No. I mean, these people worship Flynn like he's a god who is above criticism because they like him specifically and they want to keep him on the comics. And yeah, that's fine, but do you have to act like this and go to such extreme lengths to do so? No! And I know this because a lot of my fans like Ian Flynn. They want him to succeed. They want him to get better. But these guys decided to go full-blown Sons of Kojima and start a harassment campaign to bully and harass anybody who dislikes Ian Flynn. Anybody. Now, for this part, I'm going to discuss the more sketchy stuff. So, in other words, theories that have a lot of evidence pointing towards them being involved in stuff, but not enough to have 100% confirmation. The first one I wanted to talk about was the involvement of the Marcel video. Now, Jerome the Grey, if you remember, made a video about Marcel Buchaka, and he was the first person to do so. However, what was bizarre is that his video got taken down not too long after Semaj said, "Lance, you went too hard on Marcel," and it was flagged for bullying. Now, this could have just been a bot, but it's also suspicious that before the video was taken down, Semaj said those same words. The next one I wanted to talk about was his involvement with that Umbrella guy in Yellow Flash. No, he wasn't involved in the channel. And for those of you who don't know, there was a flagging campaign against that Umbrella guy and Yellow Flash and many other comic skaters. And for Yellow Flash and that Umbrella guy, what I found suspicious was that some of their videos on Sonic the Hedgehog were taken down, and that Umbrella guy's video that he did with Hedgefox and Zealous Fox was also suspiciously taken down. And considering Mick Trap's obsession with censoring anybody who dares talk bad about Flynn, I have no reason to believe that he and Semaj weren't involved somehow. Not in a big way, but they were part of the flagging campaign. And considering Semaj's many, many alt accounts, I would not be surprised if he used some of those to flag that Umbrella guy's video. Especially when you consider the fact that one of the videos featured Hedgefox and Zealous Fox, both of whom are some of Semaj's biggest enemies. I also feel that Semaj might be blackmailing Bomb. And Semaj did this just to say that he has no affiliation whatsoever with Sonic World, and to say that he had no involvement in the whole wiretapping incident. Now, the reason I say this is because Bomb DM'd Hedgefox, and he and Hedgefox were discussing the whole situation. Bomb was fairly guilty about the whole wiretapping thing, and of course wanted to help out Hedgefox. Bomb said that he felt sorry about following Semaj, and that he wasn't too happy about being used by Semaj. All of the evidence points towards Semaj being the first person to even mention Silver Team to Sonic World, and not only that, but one of the admins even said not to go into Silver Team as well. And at one point, Semaj sent me a screenshot of a DM he had with Bomb, where Bomb says all of a sudden that the admins came up with the idea, and that he simply followed Semaj, which does sort of contrast what was said before. And not too long after that, Bomb messaged Hedgefox saying that it was an admin's idea, not Semaj's, which again seems pretty suspicious. And Semaj has used this several times to say that he was innocent in the whole ordeal. Now, why would Bomb all of a sudden change the story to that Semaj had little involvement? I don't know. I honestly don't think he would, and considering the fact that Semaj sent me a screenshot of something that was in the middle of a conversation or at the end of a conversation, I don't know what the conversation was beforehand. Although I think the discussion might have either been Semaj trying to ask about his innocence, or Semaj saying he was going to do something. What that something is, I have no idea either.
And that wraps it up for the conspiracies, and that's the only conspiracies that I have left. So, now you can take off the tinfoil hats.
That's not even all either. There are other people as well. In fact, Semaj accused Nintendo Dude of being a pedophile because he had aged up pictures of Cream on his DeviantArt profile. Aged up, as in over 18. So you have no proof there. Not only that, but he did the same thing with BW Rosas. Except he had even less evidence that he could manipulate. There was no evidence whatsoever that BW Rosas was a pedophile. And that whole cartoon critic thing, yeah, well, BW Rosas made a video against him anyways. So, you just committed slander against 2 people, and one of them is severely handicapped. You are fucked up, Semaj. Oh, you want me to keep going? Oh, I'm gonna keep going. It's not much better either. Remember Sarawishi? Yeah, well, Semaj made 5 alt accounts to stalk and harass this guy because he didn't agree with Sonic's speed. That's right, 5 alt accounts. And it was apparently when Sarawishi had just lost his dog and his grandfather was in a mental institution, so you continued to harass this guy after he told you, please no, I'm griefing. Do you have no compassion for any other human being? I mean, you tried to get me into a scam server, Roblox PayPal Awards? I mean, that whole thing has, hey kids, want to come in here and waste your parents' money away, written all over it. And you keep on saying, oh, but I've moved on from all of this, please. No, you haven't. You made an apology over a month ago, and then the next day you went back to talking shit about Hedgefox and I. And then you said, fuck Hedgefox's fans. And claiming, oh, Hedgefox sends his fans after me. No, that's not how that works at all. He's giving them evidence to show how much of an awful person you are. That's not sending people out to harass you. And plus, you say you moved on. Oh, didn't you threaten to leak one of the recordings from Silver Team? And aren't you saying you have dirt against Hedgefox? Does that mean you still have the recording and you're threatening to release that recording? Yeah, that's illegal. Also, I thought you said we were using old evidence. Yeah. Not only are you using evidence from October, but you're being a hypocrite, and it shows how much of a hypocrite you fucking are. But I'm 13 years old! Last time I checked, you said you were 15, and before that you said you were 17 years old, just to get someone off your back about calling you a little child. So, you're using your own age as a get-out-of-jail-free card, and you're lying about it online. And your claim that you stopped harassing us 3 months ago is also a blatant lie, since you helped Sonic World record Silver Team's Discord chat back in October, which was 2 months ago by the time of this recording. And after we called you out on the whole recording thing in Dumbsville server, you said, I never did any of that. And then we showed you the evidence, and then you kind of had to back off on it. And then you went back to saying, I didn't do any of that.
Question. Didn't they ask you where Dylan was?
And didn't you also try to give them a link to Silver Team? And didn't you give them the exact chat that Dylan was in? And there is enough evidence to prove you were complicit in the whole damn thing. And by being complicit, you broke the law. So you're still lying and you're still backpedaling.
In fact, the only reason you ever started talking bad about Marcel in the first place was because you knew it looked bad on your position. Why be friends with a guy who makes death threats when you have a similar mindset to him, a similar way of acting, a similar way of talking? For a while, you were almost a mirror image. I even had a conspiracy going around that you might have actually just been Marcel, but under a different name. But no, you became way worse than Marcel. And funnily enough, it's a similar way with Gamerguide. You said Gamerguide was a piece of shit after people called you out on it and said, yeah, this dude is botting people, why are you supporting him? Because you kept saying that all the evidence against Gamerguide was wrong. Much like your raids, because initially you said your friends forced you to raid, and then you said you never raided. My, you can't keep your story straight now, can you? Even though the evidence says you raided multiple servers, and not all of those were furry servers as well, so you're still lying about the whole raid situation, aren't you? Aren't you?
Hell, you seem to have tried to use similar tactics to what Gamerguide used to begin with. You also seem to have been fine with Marcel's reaction to my videos. No wonder you agree with him so much. You seem to agree with him on so much. And considering your actions, maybe even the death threat or two. And you can keep saying, oh, well, this is all old evidence. But unfortunately, you just haven't changed from when you first started commenting on my videos. You're the same person now as you were back then. You haven't changed. You have the same way of thinking now as you did when you first talked to Dreamcast in my comments. And I know what you're gonna say, oh, but I said I'm sorry. You said that over a month ago, and you never meant it because you went back to doing the same shit you did before. You never changed. In a similar vein to True Love Heart 94. Except True Love Heart 94 didn't create a Sons of Kojima-like group to shut down any opposing opinion. And keep in mind, when I have to defend True Love Heart 94, something wrong has happened. Something horribly wrong has happened. Something has to be really bad for you to be worse than True Love Heart 94. You say what Ian Flynn did was wrong, calling comic skaters shit, but then you called comic skaters Ken Penders fanboys. You say what Marcel Buchaka did was wrong, but yet you've done the same thing. And then some.
You know, it's no wonder as to why Ian Flynn fans became the worst Sonic fans on TopTens.com, because enough people voted to say, yeah, this group is terrible. And you want to know why that is? Because of people like you and McTrap, who go around harassing people who have differing opinions. You guys treat Ian Flynn like he's a god. And instead of defending him, saying why you like him, you guys decided to go on temper tantrums and attack anybody using ad hominem logical fallacies and other methods as well. You're no better than Fred Fox. You're no better than Christian. You're no better than True Love Heart 94. And you're certainly no better than Marcel Buchaka. Congratulations, Semaj. You have earned the title of the worst Sonic fan of 2018.
But to sort of answer a question, why is it that the Flynn fanbase has this kind of problem? Well, it's not like Sonami where it just kind of came out of nowhere, although there are some theories as to why that part happened in the first place. The reason Flynn's fanbase is so bad is entirely due to Flynn's fault. Because brainwashing children on your forums to use as your own private army to shut down any criticism of your work is simply put a bad idea. And it's Khmer Rouge level crap, although minus the genocide. But even then, though, most of these people just aren't persistent, as Semaj was. And you know, there are a lot of Ian Flynn fans who are really nice people. But the thing is, though, is that people like Semaj Hogue and his cult end up being part of that group, and then they make all the good ones look bad, when they didn't even do anything. Semaj really is the worst Ian Flynn fan I've ever encountered. And I think he and his cult honestly deserve that title of being some of the worst Sonic fans of all time. And this video has been in development for a very long time. This thing took off a good portion of my time. And if I had to keep going with everything wrong that Semaj did, this video would have taken longer to develop than Chinese democracy. So I think it's only fitting to end the video off like this. Robotech is better than the animes it was Frankenstein together from. Mr. Enter is a better content creator than Melting Man. And sorry to tell you this, but Ken Penders is the best writer for Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, actually, I'm not sorry about that one bit. And to anyone listening to this video, please share this video as far and wide as you can.
I know you gentlemen have been through a lot. And when you find the time, I'd rather not spend the rest of this winter tied to this fucking couch!